Kia ora. I feel very honoured to have been asked to speak here today. It was only a few years ago that one of my biggest fears was public speaking. I think I have left that fear behind. I was diagnosed with a brain tumour in January 2023. Leading up to this were 4 months of regular headaches and symptoms that I thought were hormone and stress related. I visited my doctor several times, but there were no red flags. I was prescribed anti-anxiety and sleep medications and given a doctor's certificate to have a few weeks off work. I returned to work on heavily reduced hours, feeling guilty and depressed about my lack of energy and continuously feeling spaced out. I felt like a failure for not coping with normal work and home life activities. In early January, my headaches became intense jolts of right-sided face pain. When I could no longer cope with the pain, I contacted my GP and was prescribed gabapentin for nerve pain. Roughly a week later, in the middle of the night on January the 14th, I was taken by ambulance to Tauranga Hospital. I had developed intense left-sided tremors and was having trouble with balance. A few hours later, a CT scan showed I had a 6-centimetre tumour in the right temporoparietal area of my brain. The crazy thing is that I felt incredibly relieved that I had a solid reason for all the weirdness I had been experiencing. I was not a failure, and I was not a hypochondriac. Because of some mild sensory symptoms I had experienced 2 years prior, the doctors believed I had a slow-growing tumour type. Tauranga does not have a neurosurgical unit, so surgery as an outpatient was set at Waikato Hospital for 5 weeks later, on the 20th of February. Over the next week, Tauranga Hospital were keen for me to wait for my surgery at home. But I was scared of having a seizure and I could not walk independently. My family did not feel it was safe for me to be discharged as they could see how unwell I was. So I stayed at Tauranga Hospital. Due to staff shortages, my sister and my sister's partner took turns to stay with me around the clock. I needed full assistance with everything. Over the next 2 weeks, they watched me rapidly deteriorate. I have no memory of this time, but it was intensely stressful and traumatic for them. They repeatedly asked Waikato Hospital for my surgery to be done ASAP, with no success. Maybe Waikato Hospital did not have any bed space. We still do not actually know the truth. What I have seen in my hospital notes is that the Waikato team believed my brain inflammation could be managed by increasing my steroid medication. I've got to remember to breathe. On January the 29th, 2 weeks after I was admitted, and after what my partner thought was a great night's sleep, I couldn't be woken up. He called a nurse in, the emergency button was pressed. Doctors came running. At some point in the night, I had become unresponsive. I was assessed as having a GCS of 6 and was taken to ICU and intubated. Hours later, I was flown to Waikato Hospital. It turned out the neurosurgeon had been on holiday, but he came back to work early to perform emergency surgery. He was able to remove 95 to 97% of my tumour. There was a small one next to my brainstem that he couldn't safely touch. I came through surgery well, and my family were incredibly relieved. Not only did I survive, but I woke up in ICU recognizing them. Thankfully, I had no complications. I went from ICU to the intensive neurology ward. The nurses were highly trained in neurology, but were busy. And there were patients and medical events happening all around me that were scary. I had what I now know were visual and auditory hallucinations. I was very confused, anxious, and paranoid. There were strict visitation rules because of COVID, and during the hours my family were not allowed to stay with me, I was in a terrible state of fear and helplessness. As soon as I was well enough, I was transferred back to Tauranga Hospital. My mental health immediately improved. Physios helped me with my balance issues, and I was discharged a week later when they deemed I was safe enough to independently use a walking frame. It was so nice to be home. I had only been in hospital for a month, but it had felt a lot longer. In March, I started 6 weeks of radiation treatment. Just as I had finished this, pathology results came back from Australia, and I was given the devastating news. I had glioblastoma, not the grade 3 tumour type ependymoma that they originally thought I had. Most of you already know this, but the 5-year survival rate for ependymoma is 88%, as opposed to the 5-year survival rate for glioblastoma, which is 7%. And my new diagnosis had an average life expectancy of 12 months. My first thoughts were of my daughter, who was 13. I was devastated. Given my new diagnosis, 6 months of chemo was needed. I found that the only thing that helped the chemo nausea and vomiting was, like Keith, a combination of CBD and THC that I was able to source from a friend. I was not willing to pay hundreds of dollars to an online cannabis clinic. I spent 2 to 3 months making end-of-life plans, which helped me feel like I had some control in this crazy journey. And after days of tears, I made a conscious decision to stop worrying about how my death would affect my family. I recognized that living in fear would only rob us of our ability to enjoy the present, and I wanted the present to count. I was given a book about near-death experiences and found faith. I couldn't discount the experiences of thousands of people. Having faith that this life is not all there is made my journey a lot easier. I have not gone on a special diet. My specialist advised against it, as I would lose too much weight, and at that stage I didn't have any spare weight to lose. So I have eaten what and when I like. I've enjoyed quite a lot of red wine and occasional sugar binges, but it probably helps that salads are my favorite food. After radiation treatment, I took regular supplements such as curcumin and lion's mane. I was on gabapentin for headaches. I now see that there are maybe some studies showing gabapentin can be associated with improved survival, and studies being done looking into the potential of curcumin and cannabis to assist in the effectiveness of chemotherapy. So inadvertently, these chemicals may have helped me in more ways than one. I've also stayed positive and have felt held in peace and love. Developing spiritually has been hugely helpful, along with the prayers of hundreds of people and listening to music with positive lyrics. I haven't been able to return to employment, but I have been able to do some voluntary work, which has been good for my soul and mental health. And last year I started making cards with the photos of the beauty that I saw while out on walks. I enjoy gifting them to friends and family and charities. I make audio visuals with them. I love to support and encourage others going through a cancer journey. Since finishing treatment in September 23, I have been well. An acquired brain injury caused by a brain tumor can come with a huge list of long-term symptoms, and I've been very fortunate. My only symptoms that have a negative impact on my life are short-term memory problems, low stress tolerance, and getting tired easily. And I acknowledge that my terrible memory is way more annoying for my family than it is for me. I also have what I think is acquired neurodiversity. My brain definitely works differently now. I find it hard to concentrate on some things, but I also have the ability to hyper-focus on the things I enjoy. That might be slightly irritating to those around me, but for me it is a positive. And the negative symptoms are very manageable if I'm sensible about my expectations and practice good self-care. I am now living my best life with gratitude, joy, peace, and purpose. I'm very fortunate in many ways. I'm not living with financial difficulties. I'm living in wellness and have freedom to choose how I spend my time. So I'm able to do the things that I love. Hyper-focusing is never a problem for me. One of the best pieces my doctor gave was to enjoy the life I had left. And despite memory problems, I've never forgotten that advice. I have enjoyed special holidays and time with my family and friends. We have travelled around New Zealand, been to Australia and Fiji. I've made good friendships online with other people travelling the glioblastoma journey. Supporting others has been so good for me, and they support me too. But the sad, confronting reality is that in the last year, I have lost 7 of those friends. It's surreal to feel so well, but no, I have a terminal diagnosis. I've written about my diagnosis as a journey, then more recently likened it to a roller coaster ride. For my birthday this year, I thanked my family on Facebook and said, "What a crazy ride we're on, our own family roller coaster. We hold on tight, cry, scream, laugh, nearly poop our pants, then do it all over again. And I'm thankful for all of that because it's our love and dedication to each other that creates all those emotions. So the crazy journey continues till one day it doesn't. Apparently, I have a 7% chance of making it to the end of 2027. Though there is a good chance I'll be in that 7% now. I've managed, I think, to find a good balance between hope and realistic expectation. I feel at peace with the uncertainty. My hope going forward is not for a long life, but for living the rest of my life well, with courage and love. I hope for a good death, a beautiful death if that is possible, and strength for the ones who will grieve my passing. I hope for grace and forgiveness from those who haven't or don't always receive the best of me. And I hope that I am able to some degree to leave a legacy of beauty, hope, and love. I think now they're going to play an audio visual that I made with my photos and me reading a piece of writing I did in 2024. It's called Walking the Journey of a Terminal Diagnosis. Thank you. My thoughts on walking the journey of a terminal diagnosis. We all have this diagnosis in various forms. No one lives this life forever. There is no certainty, but the certainty that life as we know it ends at some point. Most assume their journey will be long, but I am aware mine will not be. I have made peace with this. In some ways, it is a gift I have been given. This knowledge enables me to be truly appreciative of all I have. I literally stop and smell the roses. I am reminded to enjoy the beauty, and I know that I am never alone. With every fibre of my being, I believe that at the end of the journey, I will experience amazingness more wonderful than anyone can imagine. And that gives me a boost when the path gets hard. This is a description of my journey so far, and the journey of many thousands of people who, like me, have an incurable cancer diagnosis. There will be potholes. I will most likely fall at some point and get scraped knees. I will dust myself off, get a plaster and keep going. There will be hill climbs, downhill slides, valleys and mountaintops, and the flats where I feel like I can keep going forever. But I still need to remember to stop and smell the roses. I have had to learn to balance effort and rest. On some days I need others to walk beside me, to cheer me on or carry me when I have no strength. I have had to learn to ask for help when I need it and remind myself that this doesn't mean I am failing. There are days when I am able to be someone else's support. The weather changes, the scenery does too. Sometimes I have to watch where I'm putting my feet every step of the way. Other times I can relax and enjoy the view. There is so much beauty, and my support crew, cheerleaders and fellow travellers are amazing people. I couldn't do this without them. Everyone walks this path in their own way. Some routes are brutal. Mine is not. Well, not yet at least. The mental and spiritual fight is what really counts no matter what kind of path you're on. So I don't take anything for granted. I keep my eyes on the things that matter most to my body and soul. I try to be my best and do my best, to dance in the rain and enjoy the beauty I encounter, and find joy in the little things. There are so many little things. I choose which ones to keep. They are the things that help keep me focused and resilient. They are not heavy. They bring joy to me, but also to others. And I lay down the things that sap my strength. I keep my eyes on the things that matter, so that when I reach the end, it is with celebration. Not just because it's the end of that damn hard road, but also because of the wonderful memories I have made along the way. And because at the end is not really the end. End of the tough shit, yes, but the beginning of something gloriously good. A tsunami of love, incomprehensible perfection, beauty and comfort. There are no words to adequately describe it, but I will see you there.